Imagine this: a massive brown bear, weighing over 800 pounds, crashes through a heavily guarded military fence. But instead of attacking, it bows its head, as if begging for help. What would you do? This unbelievable story will challenge everything you think you know about wild animals and humanity. Stick around, because what happens next will leave you in tears. Deep in the rugged wilderness of Montana, at a remote military outpost known as Fort Pinewood, a group of soldiers was about to experience something they would never forget. The outpost, surrounded by dense forests and freezing temperatures, was one of the most secure facilities in the region. Armed patrols, electric fences, and state-of-the-art surveillance systems ensured nothing could breach its perimeter. But on this icy morning, none of that mattered, because a wild animal was about to do the unthinkable. The soldiers were stunned when a fully grown brown bear burst through their security fence. But this wasn't an attack. The bear didn't charge or roar. Instead, it walked straight to the commander's office, bowed its head, and waited. The soldiers lowered their weapons, confused and amazed. What could possibly drive a wild bear to seek human help? The base's commander, Captain Alex Carter, had seen a lot in his 20 years of military service. But this was beyond anything he could have imagined. The bear wasn't aggressive. It wasn't scared. It was desperate. Its fur was matted with ice, and its paws were raw for what looked like days of travel. The bear's eyes held a strange intelligence, as if it was trying to communicate something urgent. The base's wildlife expert, Sergeant Mia Collins, quickly noticed something unusual. This wasn't just any bear. It was a mother, and her behavior suggested she had cubs somewhere. But where were they? And why had she left them to come here? As the soldiers reviewed security footage, they discovered something even more astonishing. The bear had been watching the base for hours, studying patrol patterns, waiting for the right moment to approach. This wasn't random. This was calculated. The bear had a plan, and it needed their help. The decision that changed everything. Captain Carter faced a tough choice. Military protocol strictly prohibited leaving the base for unauthorized missions, especially to follow a wild animal. But something about this bear's behavior tugged at his heart. He called an emergency meeting with his team. Some argued it was too risky. Others felt they had a moral duty to help. After hours of debate, Captain Carter made his decision. They would follow the bear. A small rescue team was assembled, including Sergeant Collins for her wildlife expertise. They packed medical supplies, emergency rations, and tranquilizer guns, unsure what they might find. Before leaving, Captain Carter set strict protocols. They would maintain radio contact with the base every 15 minutes, and the remaining soldiers would stay on high alert. As they prepared to leave, the bear's behavior changed. It became more animated, as if it understood they were going to help. It led them into the forest, stopping occasionally to make sure they were following. The journey was treacherous. The winter storm had intensified, and the terrain was icy and unstable. But the bear moved with purpose, guiding them through the safest paths. After hours of tracking, the team reached a small clearing. What they found there would haunt them forever. 2 bear cubs were trapped at the bottom of an old, abandoned mining shaft. The shaft, a relic from Montana's gold rush era, had partially collapsed, creating a deadly trap. The cubs had fallen nearly 15 feet, and the walls were too steep for them to climb out. The mother bear had tried everything to save them, digging, pushing branches into the hole, but nothing worked. Exhausted and desperate, she had done the unthinkable. She had sought human help. The cubs were in terrible condition. They were severely dehydrated, hypothermic, and barely moving. The smaller cub was whimpering weakly, while the larger one was fading fast. Time was running out. Captain Carter immediately radioed the base for additional rescue equipment. They needed ropes, harnesses, and portable heaters to save the cubs before it was too late. The rescue operation was fraught with danger. The shaft's walls were slick with ice and dangerously unstable. One wrong move could cause a complete collapse, burying the cubs forever. The team worked quickly but carefully, setting up emergency lighting and creating a makeshift harness to lift the cubs out. The first cub was rescued after a tense 40 minutes. The mother bear watched anxiously, her eyes filled with what seemed like gratitude. But the second cub was in even worse condition. It was smaller, weaker, and partially buried under debris. The team realized they couldn't use the harness this time. Someone would have to go down into the shaft. Sergeant Collins volunteered without hesitation, lowered headfirst into the narrow opening. She worked tirelessly to free the cub, even as the walls crumbled around her. The mother bear's roars echoed through the clearing, but she held her position, trusting the humans to save her baby. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the second cub was pulled to safety. But the ordeal wasn't over. The cub wasn't breathing properly, and its heartbeat was weak. The team sprang into action, using their medical supplies to warm the cub and clear its airways. The mother bear stayed close, watching every move, her trust in the humans never wavering. Over the next 3 days, the team camped in the clearing, providing constant care to the cubs. The mother bear stayed nearby, gradually accepting food and water from the soldiers. It was an unprecedented bond between wild animals and humans. When the cubs were finally strong enough to walk, the mother bear prepared to lead them back into the wilderness. But before leaving, she did something extraordinary. She approached Captain Carter, held his gaze for a long moment, and then let out a soft huff, as if to say, "Thank you." This incredible story changed military protocol in the region forever. Fort Pinewood launched a complete survey of abandoned mining sites, securing dozens of similar hazards. New wildlife response procedures were established, emphasizing rescue over defense. Years later, soldiers at the base would occasionally spot a large female bear with 2 healthy cubs in the distance. While they couldn't be sure it was the same family, these bears never showed aggression toward humans. It was as if they shared a unique understanding with the soldiers. This story proves that sometimes the greatest acts of courage come from believing in the good of others, even those we're taught to fear. It reminds us that compassion and trust can bridge even the widest divides. What would you have done? If you were in Captain Carter's position, would you have trusted your instincts and helped the desperate mother bear? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're watching from New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, or anywhere else in the world, drop your city name so we can give you a shout out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this incredible story of courage and compassion. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.